Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rebecca, aka Crafting Journey, and I recap live trials. This is Crafting and Crime Daily, and today we're going to talk about the witchcraft trial. Tyler Dazey is on trial in Iowa. Let's recap day one. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Tyler Dazey. Yes, 29-year-old Tyler Dazey, living at home with his mom, is on trial. First-degree murder and animal abuse. Yeah. Don't play with the animals. You mess with the animals, you're pissing me off, buddy. Anyway, I'm going to show you a picture of the victim. The victim was his mother, 46-year-old Jennifer. Where's my picture? 46-year-old Jennifer Dazey. Here she is. Did you see the doggy? His name is Echo. Isn't he cute? He's such a cutie. Anyway, she passed away on January 18th of 2024. This is a quick trial. It's only July. 7 months later, he's getting a trial. I'm going to guess that there's not a lot of trial activity going on in Iowa. Dubuque, Iowa? No idea, but he's on trial. In any case, let's talk for a little bit about Jennifer Dazey. She was born August 24th, 1977. She was 46 years old. She was born in Hawaii. And one of the things she liked to do was travel. She had a goal of visiting all 50 states. Yes, she had made it to about 40, had about 10 left. I can do math, see? And that was one of her activities. She had a gnome named Willie, this woman after my own heart. She loved to take pictures of Willie. She liked to sing karaoke and go to farmers markets. Her favorite color was purple. I'm wearing her favorite color today, purple. Yeah. Anyway, her greatest accomplishment in life was her 3 kids, Nick, Kylie, and Tyler. She has a couple of grandkids and lots of siblings that she's survived by. Now, she had suffered from brain tumor and survived that. She had brain surgery in September of 2023 and had recovered from that, was still recovering. But the first person we're going to hear from on the stand is her best friend, Christy Fullman. Now, I tried to listen to the opening statements, but first of all, they were short. And the state, I couldn't hear. The microphone would go in and out. Some things I would hear, some things I wouldn't. So I wasn't getting a full picture of what the evidence was going to show. So we're just going to have to wait till we hear what the evidence is. Then the defense got up for their opening. Now, keep in mind, I've not heard the word witchcraft. Now, this witchcraft thing is what I'm reading on the internet. I haven't heard anybody say the word witchcraft yet. And the defense just basically told the jury to keep in mind or keep an open mind. Okay, my mind is open. Do I believe in witchcraft? No. Do I think there are witches out there? I think there are people that call themselves witches. And they practice something, but okay. All right, I'm just going to leave that one there because now I'm going to get 100 emails. Okay. So her friend Christy, with a K, is the first person on the stand. And obviously, she's never done this before, very nervous, and the prosecutor tries to calm her down. But she met Jenny when their daughters were in Girl Scouts together. Jenny was the troop leader. Can you say Girl Scout cookies all over the house? Yeah, I've been there, done that. Yeah, that was about 11 or 12 years ago. That's when they first met. They became friends over time and eventually best friends. But the past few months prior to the murder, September 2023, obviously there was this brain tumor that Jenny had. She had the surgery. She's recovering from that. Then Christy has some health problems. So Christy did go over right after the brain surgery and helped out Jenny to recover. And she describes Tyler as being, because sometimes Christy would have her kids with her or her grandkids. And she said Tyler was very abusive towards his mother, verbally abusive. He would call her the C word, UNT, and he would call her a whore. And sometimes he'd be joking and sometimes he wouldn't be joking, but it's just stuff he was just refer to his mother as, which, like, if you're gonna, no, you'd be out the door. The first time you use that word, I'm sorry, there's the door. Yeah, don't let it hit you on the way out. Okay. So that morning, well, let me back up. So right the beginning of January or end of December, Christy has to have surgery. She didn't say what it was, but she goes through this surgery. So they're not really keeping in touch because now Jenny's recovering, Christy's recovering. Christy was not allowed to leave the house. She's on bed rest. So she finally gets the okay to go out. So she calls her best friend, Jenny, and she's like, let's do coffee. They love to get together for coffee every week, at least once a week. Coffee was their thing. I get it. That's when you spill the tea. Yeah. The gossip, talk about your kids. Witchcraft? I have no idea. In any case, so about 8:30 the morning of January 18th. Now keep in mind, it's winter. And 5 days before this in Iowa, they had gotten a lot of snow. So if you look at the pictures from this trial of the home, there's probably a good 10, 12 inches of snow on the rafters and on the ground. So we're going to be looking out for footprints, right? Okay. So she goes to the house. She's got her coffee mate. She's got a bottle of water. And because there was a ring camera on the front door, we see her entering the door. And she just walks in. She just opens the screen door, gets into the patio, opens the main door, and quickly closes it because she sees Tyler standing there naked with his back turned to her. And obviously it startled him, and she could hear him rustling about, and she heard his door close. So once she hears the door close, she reopens the main door and she walks in. Now, when she pulled up to the house, she saw Nick's truck there. Nick didn't live there, but she saw Nick's truck there, but did not see Jenny's car. So she goes in and she thinks, well, maybe Jenny went to get our favorite coffee. There's a coffee shop that they hadn't been to in ages, and she was hoping that that's where Jenny was. So she sets the creamer down on the end table near the sofa, and her plan was to sit on the sofa and wait. But before she does, she sees some fur sticking out from under a blanket, and she reaches over there and she can see that it's the dog, and she lifts the blanket up and the dog's not moving. So she lifts up a paw and it drops it, and the dog is dead. So she doesn't ever get to sit and relax and wait for her friend. So now she's walking around looking for her friend. She walks into the kitchen area to see if maybe Jenny's down in the basement. Why would Jenny be in the basement? I don't know. But the door was closed to the basement. And she says, when the door's closed, no one is down there. But then when she turns around in the kitchen, she sees Jenny's purse. And she says Jenny would never go anywhere without her purse. So now she knows Jenny's in this house. And so is naked Tyler. So she goes to Jenny's bedroom and she opens the door and she's calling out to her and joking around with her. Hey, it's time to get up. Now Jenny's in this dark room because she's got darkening curtains on. And so she can see that Jenny's in the bed, and she's like, hey, wake up. It's time to get up. Like, got the coffee, Well, she's got the creamer. I don't know where the coffee was. Nobody made any coffee yet. So she's trying to wake her up. She goes over to her bedside, and standing by the bedside table, she looks down and she sees blood everywhere, and she just freaks out. So she calls her boyfriend, Ron, and she's like, "What do I do? I think she's dead." And he's like, "Call 911. Hello." So what she does, she calls 911, but she barricades herself in the room. She sits up against the door and puts her feet against the dresser. I don't know why, but in any case, I guess so nobody would come in the room. So she calls 911 and she tells them that she's in her friend's bedroom. Her friend's deceased, and she's like literally hysterical. So the police come. She goes running. She finally opens the door, because initially she wouldn't open the door for him. She finally opens the door for the police officer that responds there. He's the next person on the stand. She runs up to him. She's like, "Help me, don't leave me, don't leave me." And he's like, "Well, I gotta check on your friend." So she goes out to another room, and he walks over to the bed. He can see. Now, I've seen picture of, I don't think they were supposed to show it, but I saw a picture of her in the bed. It's not horrible. It looks like she's sleeping. Somebody had covered her up with the covers. She's got an arm out of it, the covers. And he said there was blood all over her head, and she had a couple of severed fingers. Okay. So he leaves and he calls for backup, and he gets her out of the house. And at some point she tells him, there's still somebody in the house. Tyler is still in there and he's naked. So now the troops are gathering, and that's all he had to testify about. He just testified that he came, he saw the body, called for backup. That was his involvement. So then we get the lieutenant on the stand, and his involvement was to hold everybody back. Take a deep breath. We're going to do this the right way. We're going to clear this home. So they get everybody there. They're going to clear the home. Then they go into the home and they find Tyler. Now, the lead detective, when he takes a stand, he says he gets there right after they've got him in custody. He's like laying face down on his bed. He's naked. So they roll him over. He's got an erection. I don't know why we needed to know this, but, defense objected, judge overruled. We get to hear that he has an erection. Okay. So they decide, because he's not making any sense, his affect was just not normal for the situation. So they decide they're going to take him to the hospital because they want to preserve evidence. So rather than have him get dressed, they actually put him into what they call a tech suit, some kind of a suit. He described it as, you've seen those one-piece things that they wear when they go into a crime scene, those white, something like that. They put that on him and they zip it up and they take him to the hospital. And then this lieutenant, he actually, a different officer that took the stand, the corporal, he's the next one on the scene. And one of his jobs was, during the clearing of this home, this corporal was to stand outside near Nick's truck so he could see the other doorways to make sure nobody was leaving that home while they were trying to clear the home. But he also could see, because, of the recent snowfall, where footprints were. And he saw no footprints other than on the steps to the back door, but no signs of forced entry on any of the windows or doors or anything like that. But this officer had some additional involvement. He actually, apparently, because they were on the scene for a while, eventually Kylie gets onto the scene, and they put her into the back of a patrol car because it's freezing cold out there. You could see these guys with jackets and gloves and hat. I mean, it's cold. So they put her in the back of this patrol car. Well, they needed to put Tyler in the patrol car. So this officer takes her to his vehicle, and she's like laughing and smiling. And she already knew her mom was dead. So she had a weird affect too. But we don't know how different people handle grief. We really don't. And maybe this is how she handles grief. So he takes her in his patrol car, takes her down to the police station so he can interview her. It's not anything heavy duty, but it's enough, to get her out of the cold and talk to her. She had just gone to work. I don't think she lived there at this home during the time in question. So she was at work. She left work because someone had called her and told her that they'd seen an ambulance at her mom's house. So when she got there, she learned her mom was deceased. And so they get her to the police station. They put her in this room. We see the interview, and she is still with this weird affect, smiling and laughing. And she says, "Oh, I don't do death. I know I'm calm. I just don't do death." Okay. Interesting. We don't do death. Let me catch up in my notes here. So as she's sitting there, she does begin to start tearing up the longer she sits there. But she really had no idea what was going on. So the lead detective also looked at the body at the scene of Jenny and said that the injuries were to her head and neck and face. So because the blanket was pulled up, all the blood had pooled around her neck. And one of her fingers on her right hand was completely severed, and the other one was just hanging on by a thread. So one of their thought processes with Tyler was that maybe he had seen something and he was suffering from PTSD. So that's why they wanted to get him in front of a doctor. So also during his walk around the house, this detective found a knife in a sheath on a table in the corner of the dining room. And he looked it up on Google, and it was some kind of tactical knife. They showed it's about this long. Then his testimony was interrupted because there was a doctor that needed to testify so he could get back to work. You know how these doctors are. They get paid by the second. But this was Dr. Adam White, a veterinarian. So what happened was the police took the dog, Echo, I love that name, took Echo down to the police station. And when they are down to the veterinarian, he took x-rays. He found a hole in the skull of the dog. And he was shown the knife. He did explore the wound. He took the x-ray to make sure there was no fragments of anything in the brain that would be used as evidence. There was not. The only thing they found by x-ray was the chip that was in his shoulder. And he was shown the knife, and he said that was consistent with the wound that he saw. And it was just one swift, like someone took the knife and it went all the way into the brain matter of this dog. He said he would have died instantly. Oh, I got to stop when we're talking about animals. Okay. So that was Adam White. He was on and off the stand. Good looking guy. Anyway, back to the lead detective. So one of the things he did was they sent a search warrant to Ring Camera, because there was a Ring camera on the front door of this house and one on the back door, which was bolted shut. But a lot of people had keys to the back door. All the kids had keys. I don't know if her friend did, but and anyway, so he gets the footage from the Ring company, and it's all front door footage. There's no back door footage. So they ask the company again, and they're like, "We've given you everything." So his explanation for that was, well, either the subscriber decided they did not want to pay for that second camera, they just wanted to use it as like to see who's at the door. I don't know. And the other would be if there were a couple of other reasons. One on cross-examination, a fourth reason came out, and it's if someone had that application on their phone, and probably all the kids do, they could just turn it off. So was it turned off? We don't know. So there's no footage of anybody that may have come to that back door. But what they saw at the front door was Nick. the night before he had come home. Now, I think he may have used the back door because we don't see any footage of him coming through the front door, but he had come in and dropped off some pamphlets or something. Something was wrong with his truck, and he borrowed his mom's car. So he leaves the next morning about 8:05 a.m. You see him on the Ring camera. He leaves, and he takes his mom's car with him. Tyler is home this entire time. Then at 10 p.m. that night, you see Mom, Jenny, letting the dog out and then letting him back in. And then at 8:30 the next morning, there's no activity from 10 o'clock that night till 8:30 the next morning. And we know Tyler's in that house. At 8:30, it shows her friend Christy entering the house with her coffee mate, Creamer. I hope she got the flavored one, Anyway, whatever. So this detective said that, he talked about how they monitor jail phone calls, and Tyler had made a couple of phone calls that were monitored that he listened to where he is implicating his girlfriend, Tessa. So they go and they interview Tessa. There's no Tessa on the Ring camera. And they get a hold of Tessa, and Tessa's like, I have not seen or heard from him in like 5 or 6 years. And I didn't even know he was living there. Because apparently he didn't. He had just recently moved back home, maybe because his mom needed help. She was, had this brain tumor. I don't know. So that's where the testimony leaves off. Now, I know today they are putting on the medical examiner to talk about the cause of death. Like I said, no mention of the word witchcraft. Now, I don't know if that's because there was a motion beforehand that it not be mentioned. So at this point, I'm thinking the only way that this is going to come in is if this guy takes the stand. He apparently had several mental health evaluations, and he was declared competent to stand trial. So, yeah. So that's day one of this trial. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in tomorrow's recap. Take care, everybody. Bye.